Alright guys, in this video I want to show you how to use the scanner. Now the scanner is mostly everyone's favorite tool and it's also incredibly powerful, and what it does is it takes a web page and it scans it automatically to find vulnerabilities, and it searches for a lot of vulnerabilities. If you hop over in the options real quick, you can see a quick list, all of these areas: SQL, cross-site scripting, header injection. These are all the parameters for passive scanning, and I'll explain what that is in just a second. But it takes any single web page and it goes through every parameter and it checks for all of these things. And then when it's done, it displays the results in a nice organized list. How awesome is that? So before we start clicking or running this scanner, we need to understand a few things. First of all, if you go in this live scanning tab, and this is a sub-tab of scanner, you can set up your scanner to run either live, or you can build your entire sitemap first and then say, okay, here is a target, scan all the pages in here. Now whenever you do it live, it's pretty much like manually building your sitemap. What's going to happen is as you browse, for example, whenever I go to this new user page, it's going to say, okay, I'm going to scan this page, and oh, here's an injection point, here's an injection point, here's an injection point. So as you're browsing, it's going to scan the website live in real time and try to find any vulnerabilities. And that's the difference between live scanning, which we can see right here, and building your entire sitemap and then saying, okay, we got it all built. We can just right click it and hit, well, I'll talk to you guys about the different scan options now, but either actively or passively scan this website. So if we go back in scanner and live scanning, we say, okay, that's when we can scan, but what's the difference between passive scanning and active scanning? Well, there's actually a big difference. Passive scanning is just this. What's going to happen is, what Burp's going to do for each page you go to is it's going to look at the code and just analyze it. It's just going to look at it and it's going to try to figure out any vulnerabilities or any holes that we can exploit. All it does is look and analyze the code. It doesn't send any new requests to the browser. Alright, well then what is active scanning? Active scanning is, first of all, I just want to warn you, it's kind of dangerous because you can really mess up a website this way. What this is going to do is you're going to have Burp automatically send a bunch of different requests to the website that you're trying to attack. Now with each new request, it's going to try to find a vulnerability. Now first of all, well, I say first of all, this is like 3 minutes into the video, but this takes a lot longer because with passive scanning, you're just requesting something from the website one time and then looking at the code. With active scanning, you're going to set a bunch of different requests, a bunch of different, let's say, SQL injections, and seeing what works. For example, whenever you have Burp actively scan this page, what it's going to do is it's going to go through every single injection point, every single form element, every single link that you can pass parameters into, the headers, and say that it's going to test for SQL injection. Well, it's going to test all the different payloads, and I'll explain what a payload is in just a few tutorials, but it's going to test tick, submit the form, tick, 2 equals 2 maybe, or 2 equals 2, 1 equals 1. Any type of injection that you have selected, what it's going to do is it's going to test it, submit it again, and see if it can cause this website to break. So that is the difference between active scanning and passive scanning. Again, active scanning, be very careful whenever you use this. It's very dangerous. It even says right in the description, look at this. In like software, they always give you a little description of what the tools do. Not often do they write use with caution right after it. So that's how you know that this is a pretty dangerous tool. And again, active scanning, passive scanning. The way I usually like to work is I always have passive scanning. I always like to do that in live, real time. And that's because you really can't mess up the site in any way. You're just looking at the data, reading it, no big issue. And just for this tutorial, so you know we just don't get overwhelmed with too much information at once, I'm going to leave both of these off, which means whenever I'm browsing the site in real time, it's not going to be analyzing or trying to hack it in any way. And of course, you can always choose to go to your sitemap and I'm going to be showing you guys a couple cool techniques later on. But after you got your sitemap generated, if you want to actively or passively scan your target, you can do so in that way too. So there you go. In the next tutorial, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through all these options and show you guys how to optimize your scanner and get the most power from it. So it's going to be awesome. See you guys next lesson.